cannabis stocks rebounded like crazy today.
Buy.
After a brutal 7-month-long sell-off.
Sell.
That intensified over the past couple of weeks in response to some truly horrific earnings reports. But before you take action, we got some encouraging signs. I know you're looking at them. I got to make one thing perfectly clear. The marijuana industry is just not what it was cracked up to be. And this rally may be a rare bout of strength worth lightening up into, not buy.
Buy.
I used to believe the legalization of weed represented an incredible opportunity. But now that it's been legal in Canada for over a year, well, I got to admit, it may not be correct. So while we're out here in California, a state that's been a real pioneer when it comes to saner drug laws, I want to hold a bit of a funeral dirge for the cannabis industry. I know that sounds dramatic and the stocks are bouncing and that's terrific, but we got to at least open our eyes to what's happening here. Pot's simply a much smaller opportunity than many people believed even 6 months ago when it was supposed to be the disruptor of all time. As the major Canadian players ramp up production, the price of legal weed has plummeted. At first, I thought that maybe the supply was simply overwhelming the demand momentarily, and to some extent, that's true. But they're still moving a huge amount of volume, more volume than anyone expected. People are just paying a lot less for it. And that isn't what was supposed to be in the cards, my new pet theory. Cannabis only looks like a great opportunity when it's illegal. People pay a huge premium for black market goods, but once the government starts handing out licenses to grow the stuff, it's just a plant. Although I've been assured that there are real differences in quality between different strains. When weed is legal, pretty much anyone can grow this stuff in their basement with the right equipment. So I worry that maybe the equilibrium price for cannabis is much lower than we thought it'd be. And that's a major change. Consider the numbers from the big Canadian players. Cronus Group, second best funded operator, thanks to an investment from Altria, reported a week and a half ago, and the results were ugly. While Cronus only delivered a modest revenue miss, a much larger earnings miss. The big issue was pricing. Volume was very strong, with the company selling almost twice as many kilos of weed versus the previous quarter, and boy, did they ever trumpet that. But the average price for dried flower dropped from $6.19 to, get this, $3.55. That's a 42% decline in pricing in just 3 months. Cannabis oil held up just fine, but that whole segment's come under fire because of the mysterious vaping deaths caused by adulterated black market THC oils that's cast a shroud on the entire industry. As a result, Cronus margins, they've been obliterated. And I don't know how they're going to necessarily turn things around anytime soon if you own the stock. Later that same day, Tilray reported, I haven't liked these guys. And we saw the same dynamic. Lots of lower quality bulk sales, pricing down nearly 50% versus the previous quarter. The only reason the stock didn't get crushed is that it had already been obliterated over the past 12 months. And then a week ago, we got another couple of pairs of disappointments. Canopy and Aurora. Canopy used to be my favorite pot stock, as you know, but the narrative started falling apart over the summer. And despite a management change, they haven't been able to turn things around yet. No, we're still waiting for that big CEO announcement. This time, the company took a hit on pricing. But management tried to dismiss most of the weakness as a one-time hit as they try to align inventory levels. Sounds like Macy's. Everybody was already bracing for a bad result. These numbers were so bad that the stock plummeted from 18 to 15 in a day. And remember where the stock came from, although it's working its way back a tad. I will explain about that in a moment. How about Aurora Cannabis, one of your faves? I know you've called on it endlessly about it. Same problems. They saw a large decline in recreational sales, with total revenue down 25% versus the previous quarter because there's just too much inventory in Canada. Some people say it's a 100-year supply. I kid you not. The biggest positive? Aurora's backing off some previously announced plans to expand its production capacity. Oh, heck heavens. That's good news. But it's not the kind of story you want to tell if you're in a growth business. Long story short, the Canadian market is flooded with marijuana. Maybe they'll start calling that again instead of cannabis. There's a huge glut, but for the most part, the major growers haven't changed their plans. They still want to keep growing production, like the oil producers in Permian. Who knows? We'll just produce it. Maybe someone will buy it. They want to keep rolling out more, and I think it's kind of, let's say, to be diplomatic, lunacy. The whole cannabis cohort experienced another major leg down last week, but then the stocks bottomed a couple days ago, and since then they've been roaring, which is why I've been reluctant to say get out. We're going to get up. Canopy up 15% today. Cronus up nearly 11%. What the heck's happened to breathe new life in this group? And should you be suckered in? Hey, what verb is that? You probably guessed where I'm thinking. First, some U.S. operators are listed in Canada reported some decent numbers. Second, while everybody's focused on impeachment, the House Judiciary Committee just approved a bill to decriminalize marijuana. Yippee! Decriminalize. Go buy some? Not so fast. Third, yesterday morning, Bank of America Merrill Lynch upgraded Canopy growth very well timed to a buy, arguing that the bad news is now baked into the stock and the newly lowered estimates are finally beatable. Could be. Fourth, I think all these positives set off a huge short squeeze that's given the pot stock some extra bounce because these ETFs have been pressuring it down, and the short squeeze may have some legs, but it's a short squeeze. I think you have to use the strength to lighten up the pot stocks. The problems in the Canadian markets are structural, and they won't be going away anytime soon. The level of oversupply in the Canadian market is astounding. The price drops are amazing. Yet other than Aurora, nobody's reducing capacity, even though there's already years worth of supply. As I mentioned, that 100 years number keeps coming up. The scariest thing about this is that the cannabis opportunity, maybe it is smaller than we thought. Remember one time I thought it could disrupt entire food and beverage industries, but it hasn't been able to take off because of the law. And by the way, it turns out there are only so many people who want to smoke large quantities of weed. There's also issues about driving. Now, I suspect we may have to start viewing this like any other commodity, albeit a highly regulated one. Finally, marijuana is still illegal in the United States at the federal level, and that's what's really killing it here. Everyone's scared, and how can they not be? I mean, one random arrest in the industry closes. It's encouraging to see that some companies, like Green Thumb Industries, are turning a profit in the states where it's legal. But Canada is the test case for what happens when you legalize cannabis nationwide, and that experiment, let's just say, let's not call it encouraging. The bottom line, the cannabis industry, it's got to be rational and rationalized. It's neither. Companies need to close. Funding needs to dry up. Mergers must occur. Until then, these stocks are now selling to strength detritus, a casualty of a market not yet ready for prime time or any time for that matter. Hey, much more Mad Money ahead. I'm going to be talking to Lisa Su, talk about money. I mean, she is just incredibly good, and we have weakness in the stock. Maybe it's a buying opportunity. Then even if you think Trump is bad or good or this or that, I'm going to tell you why his tour of Apple is ultimately a good thing. Jobs, good. And oil calls rapid fire, tonight's edition of the Lightning Round. So stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.